Hi, this is Gordon with Let's Go Travel Tips. I am on the corner of 22nd Street and Balboa Boulevard in Newport Beach. We are across the street from the foot of the Newport Pier. And on the corner over here is the iconic crab cooker. This restaurant has been here as long as I have, if not longer actually. It was actually made in the 50s. The building itself was built in the Depression era as a Bank of Italy, which later became the Bank of America. And then during the 40s or 50s, the bank sold it and it became the crab cooker. A family, same family that has been running it since that time runs this. Originally, the fish was kept in the vault. And so not many people can say that you've had your fish that was kept in the bank safe. They charbroil it over mesquite. It is absolutely delicious. I love to get the shrimp and scallops on a skewer. They have sides of potatoes, coleslaw, roasted tomatoes, rice. They have not just shrimp and scallops on a skewer. You can get salmon, you can get crab, you can get lobster, and to top it all off, they have the best clam chowder. And I am talking, this is lovely clam chowder. So if you ever here in Newport Beach, you've got to check out the crab cooker. The prices are actually very, very reasonable, and I just love to eat here. We come pretty much every time. You can eat it in the restaurant, or you can eat it to get it to go. Let me tell you something else about this place. I have to, full disclosure, this is not the original building. They have just reopened after having been closed for 3 to 4 years for reconstruction. When they built some condominiums next door, the foundation of the original building became cracked. And so they had to actually try to repair it, but it didn't work. So they ended up having to tear down the original building and build a brand new one. But all of the fun little things that were inside the building, paintings, stuffed fish, everything, it's all back inside. So we are back to the crab cooker. We're happy to have it back. Very delicious, highly recommend it. Thank you for joining us. God bless you. Talk to you later. Hi there, this is Gordon. Let's Go Travel Tips. I'm in Newport Beach today. We're at the base of the Newport Pier. Newport Beach is actually one of my favorite places. I've spent quite a few summers here and I just love it. They've got this globe here that talks a lot about the past of the future and the present of Newport Beach. So I want to tell you about some of these people and things that are on here. So we'll start with the McFadden brothers. The McFadden brothers, they started by building the original Newport Pier, basically in this same location that juts out into the ocean. And from that pier, they would then contract builders and lumber to come from the Pacific Northwest, and that lumber would come down here, and there was a rail line that extended from onto the pier all the way up into Anaheim and Santa Ana, and that was what built up Orange County with the original lumber for housing and other buildings. So that's what the McFadden brothers did. It talks a little bit about some dates. 1913, the city of Newport Beach. Well, first let me back up. It was incorporated in 1906. The harbor had been kind of a marshy area, and at that time they started to dredge, and so they had dredged out and made the harbor more inhabitable, and they would, as they dredged the sand up, make islands. One of those guys, I haven't seen him on here, but his name was Collins, and he built Balboa Island by dredging the sand out of the channel and made Balboa Island with that dredging. But so it talks about 1921, down 2 miles at the other end is Balboa Pier, and that was built at that time. You also have the Balboa Pavilion, which we'll see it around the other side. But this is the fun zone that's down by the pavilion. Between the peninsula where we are standing by the pavilion and the Balboa Island, you had a ferry. This is a depiction of the first ferry that was made. You've got some guy had taken an old boat and they would drive a car onto it and he'd ferry across. And he probably, I think if I remember right, he charged a nickel in order to get back and forth, which kept you from having to drive all the way back up and then back down the coast highway. And like I talked about, the fun zone that's down by the pavilion. The Pacific Electric red car. This is what helped Newport to really boom. In the early 1900s, Henry Huntington built the red car lines out of Los Angeles, and those red cars would go to Huntington Beach from Henry Huntington and down here to Newport Beach, and they built a line that was specifically coming down here onto the Balboa Peninsula. So this is how people got back around to visit and come to the beach. So this is a bluefin tuna, and if you look over here, you have the Dory fishing fleet. This was founded in 1891, and the Dories that's the name of the boat, and it's just a small boat that does fish. And these guys would go out every morning, early in the middle, well, actually in the middle of the night, and they'd start fishing, and they'd get tuna, they'd get halibut, they'd get sea bass, basically anything that's out here. And then they'd come, and right here they would sell it. I remember even as a kid, okay, I'm 60, this would have been in the mid-70s. You could come here and still get fresh fish that was local. What they sell now is probably not as local. Not sure where they bring it from, but they still sell fish in this area. So that's a lot of what the fishing history is here. Talks about Newport Center and Fashion Island. You can't see it right now, it's a little cloudy, but there's a bluff up over Newport, and they've built up, you've got a shopping center. Fashion Island is the name of the shopping center, and it was built in the late 60s. And they started building business buildings, and they got some office towers and stuff. It's very well known around the area. Also, this says that it was the site of the first water-to-water flight from Balboa to Catalina. So again, this is the Newport Pier, 2 miles down, and it's exactly 2 miles because it's done so that you have navigational markers between the piers. So 2 miles down at the Balboa Pier, at that location, I don't remember the guy's name, but he hopped in a seaplane and he had a bag of mail, and he took off from here and he flew out to Catalina Island and delivered the mail to Avalon Harbor, and then he flew back. And so there's a marker that depicts that. This is telling you a little bit about it. So there's a lot of fun things to do. It talks about, on the other side it mentioned Bay Island, there's Linda Isle and so on, but there's a lot of fun places that you can do things. We'd rather be sailing. That was a slogan that came up in the 60s and 70s. And so I've sailed a fair amount of my own time on Newport Harbor. Here's a whole bunch of sailboats out there. But like I said, talks about Collins Island, Lido Isle. Collins Island, remember Collins is the guy who made Balboa Island. And so at the end of Balboa Island, he built his own at Balboa Island. Here's the pavilion I told you about. So all these fun islands that are within the harbor, there's all kinds of fun stuff. It talks about Newport Pier and, like I said, the pavilion. John Wayne, the Duke from Western movies in the early, in the 50s and 60s. He had a house here, and he actually was quite a benefactor in helping Newport Beach to grow. Yesterday we were out on the harbor. His boat is still here, and it actually went past us. It's the wild goose, and we can show you some of that footage. We'll add it into this movie, into this clip. So there's a lot of what Newport Beach is about from what I remember. Coming as a kid, as a teenager, spending time bringing my own family down here. But if you want to come to Newport Beach, I'm going to do another video that hits some highlights, and I'll use a map so you can see. Just a lot of fun here at Newport Beach. Thanks for watching. Appreciate ya. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe. God bless you. Bye.